What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast, coming off a horrible, disgusting, ugly, putrid, miserably bad series against the Yankees. Won a game, but bad baseball all around by the Mets this series. I'm taking the intro. James, just you guys want to listen more, follow us social media at Mets'd, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Following, I don't know, but
Well done.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to listen to us, Mets'd podcast, make sure you download the episode. I never do the intros. I don't really know what to do. We have to switch things up because the Mets have just not played their best baseball. Bad series in the Bronx. Bad weekend. It's just dirty, ugly, bad. Not making the easy plays. Not playing fundamental. Not making clean at bats. Not making it difficult on the Yankees or any team they're playing against. Just don't feel very good coming off this series.
Yeah, I mean, it's genuinely just been a bad week of Mets baseball, which feels double bad with the Subway Series because while it means nothing extra for the season whatsoever, it's actually not one of the most valuable games by any means on the Mets schedule this season in terms of what it actually does for the Mets in the National League East, which is goal number one right now, which is to win that division. But the fact that the Mets have now played a week of bad baseball after playing such awesome baseball all year long, it makes it feel even more bad with how they're playing. And truthfully, it comes down to one thing, or I should say three things right now. Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and Juan Soto are simply not doing anything. Over the last 7 days, they've been atrocious, putrid, terrible. Offensively, defensively, every single one of them has not been good. And this is not me saying that I'm anti-Pete, anti-Lindor, anti-Juan Soto. But we've seen this with the Dodgers. We even saw it this weekend, but you've seen it with the Dodgers. You've seen it with a lot of teams where when you have these three juggernaut players on your roster, like the Mets do with Lindor, Soto, and Pete, if they're not playing well, typically the team is not going to be scoring a lot of runs, especially when those are the guys getting the most at-bats, getting the most plate appearances, coming up in the biggest moments as we saw this weekend. The last 7 games for Pete Alonso, he's hitting 185, 207 average, or 207 on base, 259 slugging. He has 0 homers in the last week, only 3 RBIs. He struck out 12 times, walked once. The approach that we've seen from Pete Alonso all year long, scrapped it. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know what's going on, but the approach is just, it's not the same. He does not have the same patience, and the swing feels a little bit long right now. Let me keep going before you interject. Lindor, 7 games, 214, 258, 357, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 1 home run. Soto, last 7 games, 120 average, 313 on base, 120 slugging. Not a single extra base hit in the last week, 8 strikeouts, 7 walks, 1 RBIs. And just, again, to kind of put a bow tie on, or a bow on the end of this like bad 7-day stretch for the Mets offensively, in the last 7 days, the Mets have 1 home run, 12 RBIs. They have a 556 team OPS. That is a 294 on base, 262 slugging, 50 strikeouts to 26 walks. The last 15 days, the Mets are 15th in OPS. The last 30 days, they're 3rd. The last 7, they're 27th. They've just had a really, really, really bad week. And I'm going to chalk it up to that. I just think sometimes you hit some cold stretches. And right now, the Mets are hitting an absolutely ice cold stretch. But these 3 guys, the way that they've played the last 7 days, unacceptable. They've been playing terribly.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to the fact that the first 3-4 weeks of the season, this team, so we always talk about the top 3 being the driving force of this team, being the second, we still think objectively the second best top 3 hitters in all of baseball. First 3-4 weeks of the season, Alonso carried the team, carried the show. He was the run producer. He was on base at will. He kind of got every single big hit the team got for the first chunk of the season. Then for the couple weeks after that, last week of April, first week of May, Lindor was the guy who was just doing everything, every single thing. And then there was that glimmer, that moment about 10 days ago where Soto kind of won a couple games himself. He had the two home run games against the Diamondbacks. And you're like, okay, nice. Like, this started to be. Now it was Pete's turn. Then it was Lindor's turn. And then it's going to be Soto's turn. It's the fact that if they all can't be hot at the same time together, one of them has to be an engine, be the driving force. But Soto never really took the baton these last couple of weeks. It's still the same thing it's been all year, where it's like definitely taking his walks, finding his ways to get on base, finding his way to impact the game in certain ways, but not in the game defining way that Juan Soto's been his entire career. And that's kind of where this cold streak has happened. ESPN flashed a stat towards the end of the game. I think it was the 8th inning when they got out, that this was the first game all season where none of those 3 reached base. And even if you include Mark Vientos in this 4, between the Mets' first 4 hitters in this game, they went 1 for 16 with no walks. The Yankees' first 4 hitters have 5 hits and 7 walks. So think about that. The Yankees
12 times on base.
The Yankees' first 4 hitters, they drew 7 walks cumulatively. In this game, the Mets only had 6 base runners.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just like, as this game was moving through the middle innings, like, you're like, the Mets are playing losing baseball, but you're in a situation to possibly steal a game. If you could steal this game, you could steal a series. And then that's kind of how you wash away playing poorly, is by winning games you don't deserve to win. This Mets team has done, I'd say, a really good job of that actually over the last few weeks. I don't think they've been playing great baseball in May, but they're still maintaining a 500 record through the last 20 or so games because they keep finding ways to steal games. But the way this series progressed, the way they had to dip into their bullpen early on Friday, which we'll talk about, it kind of left them exposed for this game. Then Henderson Cabrera has to come in for an eighth inning against the top middle of the order after Ryan Stanek walks the leadoff guy, Pete the error. You guys know what happened, but it's just that's kind of how you chip away the team and beat them in a series. And that's what the Yankees did to the Mets this series. You tip the cap for that.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for the pitching. Outside of Megill, the pitching still absolute nails, still money. The Mets still have one of the best ERAs in baseball. They're still, while they're not getting necessarily the length, especially this weekend, they didn't get the length out of their starting pitching besides Canning, still getting the job done. The bullpen is still relatively doing a good job. I know that sounds crazy in a game that we just lost by 6, and we lost a game by 4 runs earlier in the week to the Yankees on Friday. But this Mets pitching is the only reason that they were able to win any games this week, truthfully, because the offense really was not the driving force here. And again, it comes down to those top 3 guys not being those players that we need them to be at the top of the order. So before we do get going into any more of, deeper into game 1, game 2, game 3, just a few other things I want to talk about just from the weekend in general about the Mets. There's the Soto stuff feels weird. I really thought he was going to wake up against the Yankees. And the fact that he didn't, I'm not going to lie, it makes me feel really weird. I don't love it, especially when he had that, like, you're seeing him smiling and joking, which is okay. And same thing with Lindor. They're all happy. They seem like they're calm, but then also they don't seem ready at times in this past week, especially defensively for Lindor, which is somewhere that he's always money. You're going to go through the cold streaks at the plate. We've seen it with him. Defensively, he hasn't been sharp this past week. He's made a bunch of errors. That's something we don't see. That's where, like, the calm laughing thing bothers me, but I also know, like, who fucking cares? It's a long season. You don't want these guys to be Jeff McNeil. Every single one of them being Jeff McNeil, you're going to explode and the team's going to start punching each other in the face, which can't happen. But, like, I need to see a little more heat right now from this team. It just felt like this weekend where I thought the Yankees brought it. The Yankees played good baseball. They came out looking to beat the piss out of the Mets. And I felt like the Mets kind of just went and played baseball, which maybe isn't the worst thing, but I expected a little more stepping up to the plate, a little more embracing the spotlight rather than treating it like you were playing a cold game against the Pittsburgh Pirates earlier in the week.
Yeah, this was definitely something that the Yankees had circled. You can kind of feel it. Like you could see even the way they were acting in the dugouts. But we'll get to the fans later on in this episode. But this was one that was a big red circle for Yankee fans. The Mets are coming to town this weekend, the middle of May, and our goal is to beat the Mets. Like that was the huge objective for them. But I think that I see what you're saying with Soto, but like on slightly a different like paradigm, because we've been talking about like that we missed the cocky Soto. Like we haven't really seen much of that Soto yet this season. And I think that's because, and he's talked about it openly in his media availability, that he just himself isn't playing up to his own standards. And he's very aware he's not hitting like he used to hitting or has hit for the bulk of his major league career. It's hard to be cocky when you're not playing up to your standards. You know what I mean? Like Juan Soto can't shuffle with 820 OPS and a couple, you know what I mean? Like that's where I think he's losing it, where he's kind of like malaise a little bit rather than like ballsy Juan Soto. What?
Too much thinking. If you're thinking about how you're supposed to be acting on the field because you feel like you're not playing well enough, that's way too much thinking. Let's think about this. Who does Juan Soto piss off if he does the Soto shuffle when he has an 820 OPS? Is it Mets fans? If he starts playing arrogant and cocky, like who's he upsetting? That's where I'm so confused with this, is like, why all of a sudden when you're going through a colder spell, you don't want to be the same Juan Soto that we've seen forever. He's had spells like this with other teams. He's had spells like this in his career before. He's still Soto shuffling. He's still doing those things. And relatively speaking, it has to turn around and change because the back end numbers are still so great besides hitting the ball on the ground as much as he is. But like it's a weird thing for me where I'm like, is this the classic what we've seen with Francisco Lindor, Carlos Beltran, and even Mike Piazza in the past, where it's like he almost seems so calm because he's so overwhelmed? Is that a crazy take? It feels like it might be a lot for him right now. That's why he's thinking so much. There's way too much thinking, it feels like, for a guy who was at his best, was just instinctually one of the greatest baseball players on the planet.
it's just the acclimation to this insane amount of pressure. Like it's hard to know what it feels like to be the highest paid athlete in the history of Earth before it happens.
Yeah.
Now, like stepping in the box for 6-8 weeks, and it did feel like the very beginning of the season, he was that guy. Like that Astros series, he felt cocky, he felt confident. But I don't know what's happened between them. I think it just might be, I don't know, it's just setting in. But also, I can't I'm not in any way, shape, or form like concerned or worried about him, literally in any way at all. It's more just like these little things aren't happening. Like especially the play in this game where he hits a hot shot up the middle, that DJ LeMahieu, geriatric, 7-foot tall DJ LeMahieu lays out to get the ball. And I understand that I think Juan Soto off the bat thought the ball was clearly going up the middle, but to not hustle when you could have
it was like a half check swing too.
And when you're struggling for base runners for, again, a week and a half now, and you hit that ball and you're not busting out of the box, when if you do bust it out of the box, you get a base hit. That looks bad. And that's the kind of thing that's hard for me to swallow. I understand having a slump at the plate. That happens to every single player. It's not really a big deal in my eyes. It's the fact that there was a 50-50 play where you could have had a base runner with Pete Alonso coming up in a game where base runners were very scarce. And you didn't do that. And that was, to me, the moment that changed this game. I think the Yankees really took a deeper breath after that. Devin Williams really locked in after that, where you had a guy who's been on the ropes all season. You could have put him on the ropes immediately right there, leading off the inning, being on base with your 3 or 4 hitters up behind you. When that happened, that's when I got like the bad feeling in my stomach. And then the next inning, Ryan Stanek walks the leadoff man, Jason Dominguez, and it's like, all right, now this game's over.
FT fam, let's talk about the HOF app. If you're into parlays, but sometimes you're missing the mark more than you would like to, can I introduce you to some serious analytics on an app that is easy to read and comprehend? And I'm sitting next to a man who knows how to place a parlay.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is breaking down a parlay with this Hall of Fame app. There's the situations that you'll find easier to do. It's very helpful and understanding. And if you like, gambling, sometimes this is really good to know. So get on there, get on that Hall of Fame app and check it out.
Yeah, this is info that will help you, okay? With a 4.9 rating in the App Store and over 6,000 5-star reviews, safe to say that HOF has already helped a lot of people bet smarter. For a limited time only, FT listeners can get a 7-day free trial and 50% off their first month when they use code FOUL at checkout. Download the HOF app on iOS or Android. Enter code FOUL and you're all set.
Yeah, no, that was so bizarre from Soto. I know I'm a staunch believer in don't run out ground ball, every single ground ball, because you're just going to end up getting hurt and it's going to be.
I'm proud of you that you were actually mad about that.
Yeah, no, I was mad about that one because that one was it was such a what the fuck swing that we've rarely seen from Juan Soto, even in his struggles, where I was like, what are we doing? Like, why? It was like check swing, kind of like fishing for it without 2 strikes, by the way, which is so weird. And then the fact that he saw where it was being hit, still didn't run, saw DJ LeMahieu lay out for it, still didn't run. I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, it felt like one of those moments where, and maybe this did happen and maybe we don't know. It's not possible. We haven't seen anything, but I'm like, where's somebody to talk to him about that? Like, I want to see
Lindor.
I want to see Lindor talking to him there. I want to see even Lindor fucking joking around with him or something where it's loosen up. It feels like Juan Soto's so tight right now. The only time we see him smile is when he talks to the bullpen.
I think he is tight, though. I think this comes back to everything we're saying. It's the acclimation that you can never know. And we talked about this a little bit in the offseason when we were talking about predictions for this team. I talked about also my YouTube channel, talking about fantasy baseball. Like when he signed an unprecedented contract. There's an unprecedented amount of pressure on him. And there's definitely a lot of it can come off when you have guys like Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso in the lineup. But there's just so much. There was so much fanfare, so much hoopla. He put himself in the spotlight, and rightfully. Again, he's played so well in his career that he deserved it. But you will never know how this feels until the first time you step in the box with this contract on you.
I always find it so interesting, too, because I'm like, I don't know, in my head, I would be like, I got paid $700 million. I'm going to go have so much fucking fun.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't actually know that because you've never got paid anything close to that. You're not the highest paid athlete ever. You're a YouTuber in Astoria. These are very different people living very different lives. But it's just, and it was kind of the thing that we talked about to reverse the irony, even looking back now, where we're like, if anybody's going to be able to put this pressure behind him, it's Juan Soto, because look at how the guy plays, this and that. Because I think the only other time in his career where he did feel immense pressure was those first couple months on the Padres. When he saw that, because Juan Soto was smart. He knows what's going on in baseball. Yeah, when he saw what the Padres gave up to get him, he was like, holy shit. these are superstars that give it up to get me.
The Padres were like, we're literally giving up the future to try and have you make us win a World Series right now.
In the next 2 years. And I think that, again, that's the only comparable time. And we're seeing his his production be comparable to that, which I think makes I don't know, that makes that like that thought process kind of interesting, where it's not bad, but what you said before the series, where you're like, this is the juice, this should be the jolt, like this should be like the shot in the arm.
Yes.
We had people coming up with our friends telling us that over the weekend, like, oh, this is going to be it, this is going to be it. And that's probably also the problem, where we're like, this is going to be it, this is going to be it, this is going to be it. Where it's like, that's not really, we want to think that's how it works. That might not actually be how it works. He might just drift into, like, you know what I mean? Drift into a hot streak. I don't think it's going to be like, Juan Soto's going to hit 9 home runs in 11 games. And we're like, oh, here he is. It's just, there needs to be a conversation. And probably some of this does have to come back to a guy like Mendoza as well. Like, this is what he was so good at last year. I see people, if you guys are in the Mets community on Twitter, what a
cesspool.
What a cesspool of takes that thing is. People are calling for Juan Soto being benched. People are calling for Carlos Mendoza's job. I think that it's funny to think back a year from now where this team was last year on May 18th when we were falling down precipitously. It was really starting to come apart at the seams. I think it was right when we got swept by the Guardians, if I remember correctly, and it was like, oh, this team fucking sucks. But there was a lightness that came from this team after this point in the season that we're still missing right now. Like, we're kind of missing that organic lightning rod, and maybe that just comes from Soto having fun again. Like, it just seems like we're in a spot right now where, luckily, we played so well in April that we afforded ourselves a cushion. But there's just something that's not clicking into place at the moment. That's just it has to come from who's in that room.
Yeah, and again, it did all come back to the fact that you were like, someone had picked us up. No one picked us up this week, and especially this weekend, nobody was there to pick us up on the offensive side.
No, and that's the game. When you have 3 guys like this, hopefully it should work out that someone's blazing hot all the time. And that's how we got through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, keep winning baseball games. But right now, like I said before, Soto just hasn't grabbed the baton the way he should have. And now, like, I don't know, like you talk about the Pete approach, like it doesn't feel that bad. Like he's not the best hitter in baseball right now, but he's better than he was last year. Like, he's still within the approach range.
Maybe wasn't the right way to say it. His swings have felt very long again. Like, it felt like he was doing the pressing swing thing again. That's probably more so what it was. Is it felt like the swings every time he went out there was like, I need to hit the 3-run home run. I need to do this. I need to do that, rather than what we saw the first 4 weeks where it was like, that ball's pitched there, boom, hit this way. I'm going to hit home runs because I'm fucking strong as shit. It felt like he was trying to force the envelope with hitting home runs, which we know from last year that doesn't work for Pete.
Yeah, also, the first at-bat, that should have been a home run. I don't know how that ball didn't get out. Like, that was the most home run I've ever seen be home run. And then the second at-bat kind of did get screwed a little bit as well with the foul ball the ump just didn't really see. So it was like and then maybe he was in his own head, because to get that throw he made as a professional baseball player of any position, I don't care if you're first base, catcher, second base, center field, to not be able to hit a target from 70 feet away. That's kind of unbelievable. If one of us made that play in softball, we'd be looking at you like, hey man, are you okay? Are you good? What the fuck was that? Like, everyone was like, I was sitting at the bar hanging out in Boston, going to get a game today when you guys are listening to this, watch the game with my dad. We looked at each other like, did that just happen? Like, that was an unthinkably bad throw. And a play with a good throw, you get him, and we might still be playing baseball right now. And that's that part's annoying too, which came back to before. Like, you were still in this game with incredibly many chances to win through the middle innings, and you just couldn't. Because that would have been oh man, that's like such a good one to get out in a tough road series and do it. It's just no one stepped up to the plate and like made something happen. Like,
yeah, the pitchers tried. I mean, they kept it close. Like, all of them kept it close. Even like for Megill, who was horrible in game 1,
terrible.
It was still very much in the realm of being able to be in that game. Kind of wheels fell off a little bit more when Crandon came into the game. But like, all these games were close. I'm not going to say the Mets should have won game 1 or game 3 because
the game 1 wasn't that close, but it was like there were moments to make it close.
Yes, that's kind of where I was more so at. But the fact that the Mets again still played this was so bad. They played terribly all weekend.
This might be the worst series. I think the worst series of the season for sure.
Easily, offensively, defensively, and the bullpen did have some moments where you were like, "Oh shit, yeah, Genesis Cabrera, that's right, you should not be here." But like, that's what makes it even more frustrating. Is like, just play okay baseball, and we win 2 of 3 in this series.
Or, yeah, we were also on the razor's edge of fully getting swept, because if Reed Garrett doesn't have a miraculous double play to get out of an inning on Saturday, like, you get swept again, a game where you barely got any hits again. Like, it comes back to the offense. And it's also just frustrating that, like, we watched the Yankees hit home runs to the first row. Someone hit a home run to the first row. Baty almost has the grand slam. I know, there's something. It's just, they weren't even close to coming through in any of these situations. That was the front. Like, even it took, like, Juan Soto stealing third base, the sacrifice fly by Francisco Lindor to get the 2 runs to win us the game on Saturday. Like we played such worse baseball than the Yankees. It was a miracle to leave here with 1 win. And then shout out Major League Baseball for the scheduling, because for the second time in 3 weeks, we have to play a late game on Sunday and then go immediately. We're not going from St. Louis to Arizona, but even going from New York to Boston right now. That's very annoying travel part of the schedule. So I just really hope that, thinking about today, tomorrow, like you don't come out flat again, a game where you get into a city late at night. It's just the click isn't fucking there. It's killing me right now.
Yeah, I know. I especially with like the vibes going into Friday night's game, like the Yankee fans were mutants. We knew that was going to happen. The antics that they had were insane. The turning the back and like booing him, I totally get it. And fuck Soto chants. Like we knew that was happening. We would do the same thing if I think a player like that left to go to the New York Yankees. At least I'd hate him. Like I'd be like, oh fuck this guy. Like I think someone had to sign this at Judas, and apparently Keith got super pissed about it. He was like, that's a bit too far there, young fella. Like someone I thought that was super funny.
Someone's wearing a shirt today. It was like, Soto, never heard of him. It's like, you're wearing a shirt with his name on it, dude.
Yeah.
I saw someone have a tweet in the Mets community that said Daniel Vogelbach played more games for the Mets and Juan Soto played for the Yankees.
Wow.
Just to put it all in perspective. It is, again, like we talked about the Yankees a little bit. The series is clearly circled for them. Shout out their guys for showing up to play, especially a guy like Bellinger, who in his mind, he's like, I'm the Juan Soto replacement. He was the guy who was the guy this series.
Yeah.
Between both teams, he played the best baseball, I think, entirely. Like he was good on defense. He got tons of big hits. The grand slam on Sunday was a cherry on top. Like tip of the cap to Cody Bellinger for having a great series. But like talking about Yankee fans for a second, I think that everything that happened this series is exactly what we've talked about, like since Juan Soto signed with the Mets, that the Yankee fans that we grew up and kind of knew they don't really exist anymore.
No.
Like my buddy Ryan gave the great analogy. I think I said it on this podcast before, but just in case I haven't. If you look at the Mets and Yankees, how they've responded these last few months, the Yankees are that person who gets every guy or girl they want. Like they go to the bar, they get hit on, they hit on people, everything works out. They've never ever been rejected, never ever been broken up with. Where the Mets are the dude that cannot get laid. Never has, never will. And then the first time each of those things happened at the same time, the Yankees got rejected, the Mets got the girl, and no one knows how to act.
No,
because Mets fans now, people saying like Juan Soto should be benched. We should we're playing terrible baseball, even though I think we still have the best record in the National League. That's not knowing how to act. This team is still doing really well. The Yankee fans making their entire personalities, we hate Juan Soto. You guys are just not the same anymore, which is kind of fun for us, but like it's just so funny. All the signs, all the shirts out. It's like it's amazing that like a lot. Yeah, it's and also every single time that there's a game in Yankee Stadium and they pan to a crowd, you see the worst people you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
Every single person they show on television is such an animal. Every single person is the last person on earth you'd ever want to be in a conversation with. It's a lot of chin strap, thin beards. It's a lot of Yankee flat caps right down to the eyelids,
or backwards with the open Yankee jersey and the wife beater on underneath. And you're like, how do you
huge chain?
Who let you out of the house looking like that?
Wild tattoos on their arms that you know they regret wholeheartedly.
So many calf tattoos from Yankee fans. So many.
And again, like they're getting ready for the Cowboy season, which is going to get training camp starting up soon. They got to figure that out, and they're upset about the Lakers last week. But it was just
Celtics too.
Yeah, the Yankees fans are really pissed about the Celtics losing. Those all go hand in hand. But it was funny to see that aspect. I thought that aspect was fun. I couldn't believe the length and the organization they took it to. And I'm happy for them that now the Yankees and the Yankee fans are just like everybody else in baseball.
Yes.
Like the aura, the specialness of them is gone. They have beards. Like they're just like everybody else now. And I think that part is really cool for baseball in the city.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really going to do many media marvels in this episode just because we'll keep it to Subway Series. But man, John Boy's tweet was like all-timer, bad loser, little brother. Yeah, no, I'm just calling him his name. He can clip this one if he wants. It was just like what a fucking loser tweet that was, where it's 2 balls. Aaron Judge catches one of them. Juan Soto doesn't. Theoretically, if you're a dumb idiot, they look like they're the same baseball. But obviously, we can just look up these numbers, look up these stats, get statistics. And we just straight up know that they don't have the same catch probability. They're not the same baseball. He had some like dorky little tweet about or a tagline about like who sent him this clip. He's like, a viewer emailed me this. And then everyone
replied, got right under the bus.
It's not real either. He thought he was being funny. He thought he was being, quirky or whatever. But like, man, I don't know, dude. As like a guy who has baited fans before, I think there's exceptional bait. I think there's times where like that's good bait. Or it's so low hanging fruit that it's obvious what you're trying to do. I think he thought he was doing something there and just was going to get a reaction from it, when in truth, it was like, you're the idiot in the room. You missed it.
I just want to say, before Arena Club, if you were trying to very actively buy sell, trade. It was very complicated and used a lot of mail that was unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to do it, but I'm glad we have Arena Club now because it's a one-stop shop for everything card related.
It is. And right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or your first card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FOUL. Use code FOUL. If you're a collector, you've got to check out Arena Club. Go get after it.
I mean, it is a shame how poor that media company is sometimes and how they cover baseball. But that tweet especially, like going back specifically to a ball that Juan Soto dropped like a month and a half ago, like the third series of the season, like to memory hole that for a play that Aaron Judge made like in the fourth inning with nobody on base and nobody out.
Of all people to talk about making plays, I mean, that's the one guy who dropped a huge fly ball in the World Series. Like Aaron Judge is the best player on the planet, and it's not even close. And this is not a shot at him. But in the biggest stage when the Yankees needed him most, he literally crumbled, and Juan Soto carried that team on his back in the postseason last year. Like, it's hilarious.
And I think that Judge, of all the immaturity happening with Yankee fans online, Judge is incredibly mature about it. Like Judge had the conversation with Soto today. He talked about that after the game. Like he told him, like, "Hey man, like you're the best there is. Like just." I think he sees it too. He got to know him pretty well. Like they were teammates for a whole year. I think like, everyone can see Juan Soto right now and be like, this isn't what he normally acts like. This isn't what we normally.
Even Carl Ravitch, who did a horrendous job on the broadcast, the ESPN is unbearable to watch. I'm so happy they don't have baseball after this season. It's the last
They still might get it back.
Oh, anybody, please, I beg you. I can't listen to these idiots. Eduardo Perez was trying to say that a ground ball that dinked off of Aaron Judge should have been ruled a hit for Anthony Volpe. He should have had a hit. That's not how the rules work. But anyway, he was like, it's kind of crazy that Soto hasn't shuffled yet. This is where he actually spit. Shout out Carl Ravitch. He was like, Soto hasn't shuffled yet this season. Kind of crazy he hasn't done it just like by accident. Like, how does that not even happen?
It's like, why isn't he shuffling? Because everyone can see it, but it's also just like, it's got to twist in. It's almost like, I don't know. I figured like when he hit those home runs, it was fine. Because even seeing the swings, like we talked about a lot, like on the weekend, we were just hanging out. Like when Soto's bad, he's pulling off and he's kind of flying off that pitch on the outside. He's not able to drive it to the opposite field well. And that's why when he hit those opposite field home runs a few weeks ago, we're like, okay, nice. Like the swing is back. The mechanics are there. But you could see it. Maybe it's an effort thing from him. Maybe it's just the way, like when the emotion comes. But once that shoulder goes open and he's not able to drive those pitches on the outside, he's not the most difficult guy to pitch to anymore in the league. And on top of that, the ump on Sunday night for both sides was egregiously bad. Yeah. And again, but it was fair for both sides. Backstreet got a bunch of low strikes. Dave Pearson started throwing a bunch of low strikes and getting them as well. But it's just not quite there. And I don't really know. I know it will get there, but I don't know when it will.
Yeah, I mean, it took Lindor a full year. I hope it doesn't take that long for Soto, please.
I mean, other stuff like from this game, the only other thing I do want to talk about this game is that it did get started off on the wrong foot, just with Mark Vientos, the first play of the game, botching a pretty straightforward ground ball at third base.
We can just say he's the DH now, right? And Brett Baty and Acuna play third. How much longer are we going to watch him play third base at an elementary school level? He's so bad over there. He's so bad.
I was shocked when I saw that tonight too, because David Pearson's a ground ball pitcher. Like the same logic that you're using to play Jeff McNeil in center field should be the logic to put Brett Baty on the grass.
And
like,
I know
that to me is the issue.
The lefty thing for Baty, and like you got things going right with him, so you don't want him to face a tough lefty. But like, I think we have to prioritize defense right now, especially when nobody's hitting. So we got to stop as many runs as possible. And Vientos just gives up a base runner or two every game right now. And
the other part of that is that if Starling Marte is on this roster and he can't play defense, he doesn't play against righties. He kind of has to play against lefties.
Yes.
Like that's what it comes down to. Like Starling Marte has to be in the lineup in this game. So when you're drawing up the lineup and Starling Marte has to be in it, then you decide who would you rather hit, Vientos or Baty. And they're still hitting Vientos fourth rather than fifth against the lefties. And Vientos has put relatively better swings on the ball of late. But just the defensive chasm right now between Brett Baty and Mark Vientos is so wide and so apparent. It's kind of hard to justify ever having Vientos stand there on defense when Baty's on the roster.
Especially when we can just have Vientos bat in the lineup and not play Starling Marte, who has...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but it begins with Starling Marte has to be playing.
Correct.
That's what it's all devolves.
Yes, which he shouldn't, because he has not even an ounce of value to this team. There's nothing. He brings nothing to the table. I love Starling Marte as a player. I was very excited when we got him. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to see him leave. He's so bad. I can't watch him play anymore. What's weird is he's actually swinging the bat really hard, which is kind of bizarre. He just can't hit the baseball. He's got no plate discipline. He has terrible at-bats. And again, he can't play the field, and he's not running well. He doesn't do anything.
No, he doesn't. I think that a lot of Mets fans are beginning to call for his head, calling for some general shakeups with this roster, because we also are. I'd say 2 weeks from a conversation about Francisco Alvarez versus Luis Torrens.
Yeah.
Because Alvarez has taken some very poor at-bats. He hasn't pulled or lifted the
And
ball this whole season.
he can't fucking catch the ball. I don't know what's going on, but 4 or 5 times a game now, it clanks off his glove. I don't know what is happening there. I love Alvarez, but like, he's another one of those guys where it's like, I want to shake him and be like, when's it going to happen, buddy? When are you going to be here?
Actually, he has his rate of pulled fly ball is actually quite high. That's actually, because his ground ball rate, his fly ball rate is 19%. That's why. Okay, that makes sense. But it's just that we got to this point last season. It went a few weeks after, then they started to shake things up. It was that first week of June, last week of May. It was like a full 8 weeks into the season. That was last year when we're like, okay, now we can start to do things. I don't think that we're getting to a point where they're actually going to take Starling Marte off this team. I think that decision might come when Jesse Winker comes back. Why are you laughing?
No, I just laughed because I just got an insane thought in my head. I'm like, you think Carlos Mendoza's playing Marte hoping he gets hurt? Because he's got bad muscles. So he's like, maybe if I play him, we'll get hurt, and then we don't have to worry about this. I mean, there's no other reasoning to play him.
It was also so bizarre, the thing before Sunday Night Baseball, where like they were promoting that Juan Soto was going to be mic'd up, and then Buster Olney starts talking about how they're going to ask him about Aaron Judge, and then we hear just before the game he's not going to be mic'd up anymore. Like that, I don't know. ESPN, like you guys have Juan Soto on the microphone, who's playing on the team with the best record in the National League, who's had a tremendous start. Talk about him acclimating with his new teammates, and the only thing you want to ask him about is his former teammate. It's just like this is. Like, where's the journalistic integrity here? Like, you have an opportunity that no one else on planet Earth has. We can do a live interview with Juan Soto,
the highest paid athlete in the world,
and like one of the most interesting athletes going on right now. Because like, you're not going to talk about his cold start, but like, what's it been like adjusting this and that, and teammates, and the only thing you want to ask him about is his old teammate. Like, this has become such a tired act, and it's like when I guess people aren't going to get over this because he makes $750 million, but it's just it's ridiculous that they were going to do that. I mean, great tweet from friend of the podcast, Meek Phil, because apparently Carl Ravitch said that Juan Soto asked to be off about 45 minutes before the game, and they got Nimmo to pinch hit with the mic. And he said Juan Soto should have just taken the mic and only spoken Spanish.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Yeah. It's just weird. And I get part of the weirdness is what you said earlier, is that the Yankees brought it this series. Mets didn't really bring it.
No, they did not. I mean, outside of game 2, and even then the offense still didn't do anything. It was like, just kind of felt like just a little bit flat. And that happens, ebbs and flows of the season. Again,
it's baseball.
Nobody over here at the Mets'd podcast is hitting the panic button. You know that.
Not even close.
We barely hit the panic button last year, and they were so bad at this
The second
point
we hit is when they actually started to play well.
Yeah, so should we be panicking? Maybe that's what they need, because we are the king of the jinx over here.
It's crazy to panic again when you have still tied for the best record in the National League. But it's also just like, why did we have a first-year superstar curse on the Mets? Like, why does that exist?
Yeah,
why?
Like you would think it would be the Yankees, like the team that like the entire world knows, not the Mets, who's like considered the little brother.
I can't believe you just said that.
I'm saying that's what they claim, the little brother. That's what they love to say.
Which again, it's definitely not true anymore, because this is the way the Yankee fans are acting. They are clearly the petulant children here. But just other little shit to run around and talk about this series. Shout out Huáscar Brazoban, just nails. That the way he pitched through in game 2 was amazing. Coming back out after pitching more than an inning, and 1 day later, in a back-to-back, that ballsy strikeout of Anthony Volpe, where he tried so hard to walk him, and Anthony Volpe just simply would not let him. They talk about Megill for a little bit in game 1. That was the catastrophe Megill. Like, that was 2023 Megill, when like he couldn't do anything. Like, that
was Megill handing the keys away, and he was like, Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, it's your spot. When do you want it?
Just absurdly put himself square in the chopping block the second one of these guys get healthy. It was just like, in this game, he threw 16 fastballs to lefties. 6 were in the zone. 6 of 16.
That's not even possible.
It's literally shocking. I don't know if that's an execution thing or a fear thing, because if you looked at his pitch chart for his sliders in this game as well, every single one was a clean 3 inches below the zone, like not kind of on the edge where he's been putting them all year. He bounced so many of them. He spiked those sliders. The changeup drifted. He just seemed so scared to make a mistake, and it was funny in that game that the Yankees never squared them up that entire game. All he was doing was walking multiple guys and then there would be a dribbler or a bleeder, that weird pick by Pilons where the ball went up in the air. Like, it was terrible. He squarely put himself in the chopping block. I hate the May Megill narrative. I think that's very lazy to talk about the guy's ERA in like a 25-inning sample over the course of 4 seasons when very different situations are going on every time. But he's very obviously on the chopping block right now in terms of who would go, and because we still have weeks till someone comes back, at least 3-4 weeks. Got 4 more Megill starts probably at least.
I mean, especially watching how Griffin Canning's pitching. I mean,
this guy's incredible.
What a fucking savior that guy has been. We say it every podcast, but I'm like, when is it going to stop? Like, when's it going to end? When is this reign of terror of Griffin Canning going to end? Because he just keeps pitching good. And in this game in particular, he just had fucking big old balls. He was just like, Aaron Judge, try to fucking hit this. You can't.
Oh, it was the exact opposite of Megill. So 24 batters, 18 first pitch strikes. Just sliders, curveballs, changeups, fastballs. He didn't care what the count was. He was throwing all the pitches. The guy's just, he's been like invigorated with so much life. It's amazing right now. Like I truly can't believe what we're seeing. Again, this game, it was even still with him pitching so well, a miracle to win this game.
No,
Juan Soto
major.
had to steal third base in the fourth inning. So Mark Vientos could have sacrificed fly. And then with the send to Brett Baty in the seventh, I think was terrible. But I don't know. With the two guys coming up, he still needed a perfect relay to get him. But I was just like, why are you? He's not Brett Baty's not a fast guy. You have
And he did
Francisco
not
Lindor
get a
once.
good read on it either.
No, everything was bad in that play. And then Reed Garrett having an inning where he gave up 3 walks and a double and didn't allow an earned run. Again, to win that game by the skin of your teeth was a miracle. Because I think there would be it was upsetting to end this series the way they did. If we got swept, it would be a very different conversation right now, I think.
Oh, yeah, no, people would be spewing absolute hate.
Vitriol.
Yeah, vitriol. That's the word I was looking for. It would be insanely bad vibes right now. And again, we talked about the bad offense. We talked about some of the pitching has been, or that the pitching relatively has still been good, like Genesis Cabrera giving up the runs. Come on, like we knew that was going to happen. Like it's at Genesis Cabrera.
I just couldn't believe it was Cody Bellinger instead of Aaron Judge. And again, the problem with that inning,
Real question.
What?
Why couldn't Edwin Diaz pitch?
I texted you that. I said, bring in Edwin right here. Like the second the bases get loaded there, it's like, where's their closer? The guy who's been nails for like 7 straight outings here. I do think that this was another case of Mendoza trying to thread the needle, wanting someone else to get the bottom of the order. So then Edwin can come up for the top of the order. And then once you're already down by 2, I understand not burning Edwin in back-to-back days. That one I get, but before that, because like, should you, again, like this is probably 2 sides of the same coin. 1, should you bring in Edwin Diaz to face Yorbit Vivas? But 2, if it's the most important part of the game, maybe you actually should have. And that at bat, huge tip of the cap to Yorbit Vivas. Ryan Stanley threw him 9 pitches that were 100 miles an hour or better, and he fouled off every single one and finally got the last one and hit a ground ball that should have been turned into an out. And it's just that was on our fault for not turning it into an out. But hat tip for him, a rookie trying to make it, being able to just have a tough at bat against still a solid reliever.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, not being able to turn it into an out. The Mets defense just has to be better.
It's been bad. It's been very bad.
Really, really bad. The Mets are currently 27th in OAA in Major League Baseball, which is so bad. And that makes sense. Us watching every single game, we've been like, the defense has been terrible. The defense has not been good pretty much all season long. Besides, Lindor makes nice plays. Acuna's made some nice plays. Like the Mets will make nice plays, but overall team defense has been poor. OAA says that. DRS has us at 11th though. And that's where I go, yeah, I don't care about that stat because I've watched this team play. They played shit defense.
And it's the defense has annoyingly been very bad on the corners. And these games, which is in the bulk of the season, when Pete's at first and Vientos at third, these guys are just not good defensive players. They're just simply not. And that's okay. They bring other things to the table, especially Alonso. Us saying Pete Alonso's not a good defensive player isn't chastising him. But in a time, in a moment where Brett Baty is on the roster, because Brett Baty, the games he started third base this series, so many more great plays. Oh. That barehanded play on Saturday afternoon was amazing. Also, I hated the Saturday 1, Sunday at 7 start. 24 hours without baseball was painful. I'm like, what's going on here? Especially that pissed me off. And apparently we learned this week that the Yankees are a team that chooses the Saturday at 1 game. Like teams have the opportunity to choose that time slot, and the Yankees like that time slot. I think it's the Yankees, the Reds, and the Cubs. I was doing some research on this. Like, we like the Saturday 1 o'clock games, which is funny.
That's weird. It's just like I never think of Saturday as an early game day.
No, but even again, in terms of OAA, Mark Vientos is the worst third baseman in baseball right now at -6 OAA.
Oh, shocker. Remember when we said this earlier in the season that he can't play third base and we got fucking reamed at by people saying, oh, I've watched him play. He's great. No, he's always been a bad defensive third baseman.
My whole thing with him was that, like, I watched him improve so much of the plate from one season to the next. Like, maybe he could do it with defense. He just hasn't done it with defense. And I don't think it's a bad thing for the Mets to admit internally that right now you're the best version of yourself as a team when Brett Baty's the guy playing third base.
And
if there's a point, that's the thing. If there's a point in the season when they're not on the roster together, the conversation changes a lot. But right now, when they're on the roster together, I don't care if you're playing a lefty. I don't care if it's a fly ball pitcher or ground ball pitcher. Like, Brett Baty is miles, light years, leaps and bounds better at defense. Not even close.
Think about the head, and we're gonna bash this into the ground. But it's like, okay, would you rather play Mark Vientos at third and Starling Marte at DH, or Brett Baty at third and Mark Vientos at DH? Take Clayton Kershaw, prime Clayton Kershaw's on the mound. I'm still taking the Brett Baty and Mark Vientos every single time.
Yeah, and whatever. Again, just a bad series. It's compounded by the fact that it's a Subway Series, and I think there's a lot of extra importance that's placed on this
Sure.
nationally, when in reality, the games against National League are more valuable than the games against the American League. And also, you lost a 3-game series against a good team. The Yankees are a good team.
Yes.
Told you guys going into the series. Max Fried's a great pitcher. Actually got to him decently well. The Yankees lineup 1 through 9, while it doesn't have like super punch besides Aaron Judge, these are mostly guys are tough outs.
Bellinger's
Oswald's a
starting to
good
wake up,
baseball
though.
player.
Yeah.
Bellinger's been waking up big time. Like this is a good team. I think a lot of people have kind of killed the Yankees for this early season start when they're good. They're a solid team. Tylor Megill come rising from the dead to be an impossible out. I didn't see that one coming. But
No.
again, still, it's just I'm significantly more annoyed with the way the Mets are playing and hitting right now than anything on earth to do with the Yankees.
Yeah, totally. It was a bad week of hitting, and hopefully, as we head out to Boston here, a little series preview coming up. Let's talk about that. Maybe the bats can wake up. Fenway Park is a great place to go if you're a hitter. You got that big old green monster in left field. Just pull the baseball in the air. You're gonna hit home runs or doubles at the absolute worst. And the Red Sox have been struggling. They've been scuffling, especially on the pitching side. Their pitching has looked horrible, and that was their concern coming into the year. Their bats are phenomenal. Their pitching is not. So what are the matchups for this series here, James?
Also, it's at the top of the show. I am in Boston, so if anyone did travel up for this series, I'm here for my dad's birthday on Monday, 60, Papa Shiano's 60th birthday.
Shout out Big James.
Shout out Big James. So hit me up. I'd love to say hi to you guys. Begin doing birthday family stuff, so it might not be possible. But let me know if I'm in the ballpark. We're sitting near each other.
You gotta talk to Healy. He's up there now.
Oh,
Boston
Healy's
guy.
here? He lives here?
No, Tim Healy.
Oh, I thought you meant your buddy Healy. I was like, oh my God.
We got two buddies Healy, but Tim Healy,
Yeah.
he's at Boston
Yeah.
Globe now. You gotta go say what's up.
Yeah, I'll send him a DM tomorrow. But so B's in the G again. If anyone's up here, hit me up. Let me know. Monday, 6:45, Kodai Senga versus Hunter Dobbins. Tuesday, 6:45 again. So remember, guys, 6:45 start times for this whole series. Clay Holmes versus Walker Buehler. Another frustrating thing about this Yankee series is that we didn't have either of our two best pitchers, because I think right now we'd say that Senga and Holmes are our two best starting pitchers. So with the three worst pitchers against a good team, just winning that series would have been awesome. And then Wednesday, another 6:45, Tylor Megill versus Garrett Crochet. If Megill wasn't sucking, that would be the ace-off, because Crochet is a freak of nature. But looking at those three matchups, two of them, I like to think that we have the more talented pitcher on the mound, which is kind of crazy to say with Holmes and Buehler. But
what's the deal with Hunter Dobbins? Because he's had some like pretty decent starts, but also then times where he gets shelled. He's just not very good.
He's the classic good command, good breaking balls, bad fastball.
Gotcha.
That's kind of Hunter Dobbins' thing. So he winds up pitching from behind a lot. And I know if you guys look at the Baseball Savant run value, the fastball looks better. That's because you got to get situations where he has to use the breaking balls a lot to kind of make up for the fastball. But it's a true 5-pitch mix. He got the splitter, a curveball, a two distinct sweeper and slider. He's good. He moves the ball around. But again, it's just a very okay fastball. Three of the other four pitches have a whiff rate of 40%. But that fastball is just one that gets kind of pelted. Hitters have 500 slug against it. Hitters also have an 800 slug against the curveball and a 500 slug against the slider. So Hunter Dobbins is a guy that you really have to get ahead on in the count, and that's how you beat him. But he definitely is a good little pitcher. Someone I've been paying close attention to in fantasy baseball.
Yeah, and Walker Buehler's been weird. That's I think the way I'd explain it.
Yeah, he is weird at this point in his career. Like I hope he doesn't see us and like everything like flows back into him like it did during the NLCS last year, and he becomes like Ace Walker Buehler again. But he lost so much of his luster from the arm injuries. Like his fastball went from like the most electric in baseball to so unbelievably mid that's like not even funny. He now has become just more of a junk baller where he's gonna mix you up with cutters and sinkers and changeups and a bunch of bullshit. That's kind of who Walker Buehler is. A lot of these Red Sox starters have struggled much more at home compared to on the road, obviously, because Fenway Park's a very difficult place to pitch. And you got Garrett Crochet, who's a stud, ace, monster, guy who I wish was on the Mets, but he's a freak of nature. So let's get the bats out these first couple games. Just fucking hit.
And the Red Sox bullpen's gettable for sure.
Yeah, I think it's highly gettable. I think I would describe it as.
Now, at the plate, Rafael
Awesome.
Devers is amazing. I know people are freaking out because he
Designated hitter.
says he won't play first base. And you know what? I'm
Kind
with him.
of.
I won't play first base either if I was him. I'm like, I played third my entire life. I don't know how to play his position.
He kind of said that. He was like, the way it translated, which is shame on, again, we saw this with the Mets last year with Jorge Lopez, the media kind of mistranslating him. Shout out your boy Robbie Hyde, part of the Foul Territory Network here.
Monster
He's
territory.
like, my wife is fluent in Spanish. The quote that's going around is not what Rafael Devers said. This is what he said. And it was basically like the accentuation of him saying he can't play first base right now, him saying he has to learn it and work on it, then try to figure it out. And basically another thing is that like everyone's clamoring for him to play first base. It would be a pretty bad look for him to just throw his own teammates under the bus as they're trying to play first base.
Yeah.
Guys like Romy Gonzalez, who's been in this roster a long time, being like, yeah, I'm better at this. I've never done it before, but I'm better.
Romy's got like a 120 WRC plus right now, too. Like, he's not playing bad.
Swings very hard, too. And Devers in his career has never, ever played first base. He's played more shortstop than first base as a professional baseball player. Like I think it was something like between the minors and the majors, like 8,000 innings. Like he's not, it's a hard thing to change positions in baseball. I think if you gave him a few months, he'd probably be able to do it. But I also definitely understand the frustration where first you changed my position and now you're changing it back. Where like maybe at the end of the day, you might be the best team that you could possibly be for like I'll play anywhere, anytime, any given place. But I also understand him being like, I don't think I'll be good at this. You took me out of the field because I'm bad at defense. Now you want me to play the one where I catch the ball every play? Like I don't know.
Willie Abreu's been incredible.
That's your boy.
Love Willie Abreu. He did not get enough shine last year on the Rookie of the Year. He was way down the ballot. Dude had a phenomenal season. He's mashing again. Can't hit lefties, but he's mashing against righties. Got like a 900 OPS. And then what is probably the best signing of the offseason offensively, Alex Bregman. He's been just phenomenal. I mean, who would have thought Alex Bregman is a perfect fit in Boston? He loves playing there.
I mean, it always was a perfect fit. Part of like watching this series with this Yankees team this weekend, similar to what I was thinking about the Cubs when we played them a few weeks ago. It's like, why didn't you guys think about signing Alex Bregman? I understand he still went for a pretty huge deal, but like the gaping hole that Yankee team has at third base, and a guy like Bregman just staring you in the face, who's having an amazing resurgence season, who's just such a baseball rat ball player kind of thing. It's like that seemed like such a slam dunk. Jarren Duran, after a big breakout last season, is struggling a little bit at the plate, but is kind of getting it together some. Christian Campbell, superstar rookie, one of the top prospects in baseball. He came out of the gate blazing hot. He's hit a bit of a cold spell now, which seems just average rookie stuff. The league figuring you out, and then you have to figure them back out. Ceddanne Rafaela, someone who I've talked countless shit on my fantasy baseball channel, has really turned it on of late. He's still playing good defensive center field, has improved his plate discipline a lot, getting to more power. And Trevor Story, who old friend, former superstar, has just had a hot first 3 weeks, and he's hit the skids since.
Yeah, no, this is a team that...
It's a good team, though. It's a fine team.
Yeah, like we should beat them. We need to beat them. But hey, if the bats don't show up like they have,
how are you going to win?
Week, literally can't. The Mets are just not scoring more runs than most teams. Like we got lucky. The Pirates were worse at hitting. That's basically what that was.
Not worse, the worst at hitting. One of the worst teams I've ever seen in my life, that Pittsburgh Pirates team. I feel bad for Pirates fans. The soft medium world, just to throw it out there. But the fact that Jeff Passan put out an article this week that said that the Pirates should consider trading Paul Skeens.
I did it first on buy or sell back in like April on my channel. Let's say it's a buy or sell video that's smashing still to this day. And again,
similarly, you could thank Jeff Passan for that one.
Exactly.
Similarly to you comparing yourself to Juan Soto before, you are not Jeff Passan. You're right. Mark.
My videos get 50,000 views. What do his get?
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, like, in terms of the most relevant national baseball media journalist, him being like, this team should trade the most exciting player they've had in 30 years. That's stupid.
He's legit, and I'm like, how can I get people to click my videos? Should the Pirates trade Paul Skeens? Yes.
Like, I truly, if I was a Pirates fan, I would both wake up angry and go to sleep angry every single day. But then I don't know. Besides that, this Red Sox team, Liam Hendricks is back. One of the coolest stories in baseball.
Yes.
Back after cancer and bad arm. Garrett Whitlock and Justice Slayton and Aroldis Chapman in the bullpen have had all hot and cold spells this season. Chapman somehow, what was he now, 37, 38 years old? He still throws 104 miles an hour. It's kind of ridiculous.
Speaking of someone who throws 104 miles an hour, maybe the last thing we'll mention in this episode, they got the rat fuck. That cheating bastard. Got him for 80 games, PED, and it wasn't for recovery. He was just juicing to get better.
They said it was a weight loss supplement. It's like, all right, buddy, nice try.
I see what you look like. You're not losing any weight.
No, I do think it's all we got for this series. It's just frustrating. It's just hard. I don't know. This is even one of the most uncomfortable episodes. I'm like, I don't even know how to say how to even talk about this shit. Because I'm like, I just wish they would play better. I know that we saw how capable they are of playing better, but it's just when this team, sometimes like when they go on the road, they just kind of lose their pizzazz.
Yeah, and the road was just a different borough. They're still sleeping in their same beds.
Yeah. And after this series, we've dropped to under 500 on the road. I think 12-13 now, right? Or 12-12, one of those
12-13. I think we're 17-5 at home. That, I will say, I thought it was a bigger deal when I texted you that. I looked at all the teams in baseball. Almost everybody's 500 or worse on the road.
Yeah, I think 500 on the road is the goal. You just want to be 10 games over at home. That's how you get to your spot by the end of the season. But as you and I both are kind of struggling to find level right now, kind of weird to find our spots, I think we have to end this episode the only way we know how to, with the eternal Frankie Peppers.
Give me some Frankie. I need cheer up here.
Here's Frankie, guys.
Gentlemen, this is Frankie Peppers. How you doing?
How you doing?
Disappointing way to lose a game. Disappointing way to lose a series. A lot of little lapses, and Samara is not amazing. Griffin Canning, though. That boy can pitch. He can go. I think you've already spoken about the behavior of the Yankees fans this series, but oh boy, I typically believe in the power of a good dish of pasta to make people feel better. I don't know about all that. I think they buy their bolognese from the store. They don't make it at home. Read into that how you will. Anyway, boys, I'm gonna keep it short. Hope you're well. Let's turn around and let's have a good next series. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, boys. Let's go Mets.
Thank you, Frankie. I needed that.
Yeah, needed that. And it brought a little smile on my face on what has been a miserable episode for me. I hate this.
You got really mad about this series.
So
this hit you
mad.
hard.
It's just like it's the nonsense of the Subway Series. It's the nonsense of how poorly we played. It was just a conglomeration of just just shit the bed. I hated it. But
yeah, just a bad fart.
Shout out the Knicks. Let's go Knicks.
Shout out the Knicks. Let's fucking go Knicks.
And let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Still very much Mets season,
Mets.
but I mean, last minute here. Oh, baby, the Knicks.
Yeah, if you guys love the Knicks, we'll do the Knicks minute right now. The way that they played on Friday night against the Celtics team that thought
Can
they
we
had
get the
low
Mets
juice.
to play like that?
I mean, maybe you just got to get Chalamet in courtside. Maybe the Knicks. We had the conversation last week. It was like, what would you give up for a guaranteed Knicks win on Friday? And I told you with a straight face, I would accept a sweep in the Subway Series to get a guaranteed Knicks win. So I came out on top because I got my one Mets win and I got my Knicks advancing. Because I definitely, I'm always been a Mets fan first, but you guys are seeing the Knicks hat right now. Walking around Boston today in a Knicks hat was one of the coolest feelings ever. These people are giving me daggers, staring daggers at me. Oh, incredible! I mean, they watched their whole window slam shut. Like this is
it's over.
And then there's a chance that the Knicks are a team that I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it yet, but
just excited for it.
I'm so excited. They played so fucking well on Friday. The city was electric. The first time the Knicks have been in the conference finals since and most of the people listening to this podcast were conscious.
25 years.
Has a clean sweep of his three favorite professional sports teams all reaching the Final Four this season, which is incomprehensible considering that they're the Knicks, the Mets, and the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, no, I'm on a fucking insane run right now. And that's also really sad because nobody's won anything. They all get knocked out in the conference finals. So.
And it's amazing. The quarterfinal matchup, you had every single one was completely jaw-droppingly incredible between the Mets-Philly series, this Knicks-Celtics series, just the way they won those first two games. And then the Commanders being the Lions at night on your birthday. Don't let the kid get hot. But I'm so excited for this Knicks team. I love this team. I fucking despise the Indiana Pacers. I said it during that game when we were stretching the lead out to 40 and 50. I want Jaylen Brown to never forget what we did to him. I want to do that 25-fold to Tyrese Halliburton this series.
Yeah, when he closes his eyes, he sees fucking Jalen Brunson's face. OG
Anunoby just in his grill.
Yeah, whatever it is. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Mets, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching this episode of the Mets'd Up Podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to the Mets'd Up Podcast YouTube channel to see the video version of this. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
And I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you all for listening and watching. We will catch you after the Red Sox series. Let's fucking go Mets. Play better baseball.
Peace out, guys. Go Mets.